That must be a secret gem for these slashers somewhere, because all of them are swole.
Isn't it always like they die when they're kids and somehow they come back as grown-ass men with giant muscles?
Hell yeah. Somewhere between dying as a skinny or mentally challenged kid and coming back, they found this one Gold's Gym, this one Planet Fitness for killers out there. They go there. I even think Chucky got a little definition on him, a little bite.
You coming to the gym, masks are optional.
Yeah. I'll be back to doing my comedy show in New York, and you can get your tickets now for that. People, you know that I've been going to New York and doing a comedy show there, and it's been going very well. The venue has been asking us to come back and just pretty much gave us a regular thing now. So I'll be there on June 21st, back at the Broadway Comedy Club and back in the Red Room, 9:30 show this time. Get your tickets now. These shows have been selling out every time we do them. And you can get your tickets by going over to BroadwayComedyClub.com, or you can go to Double Toasted NY and get your tickets now. For years, people have been saying, you know, what if A24 did a Friday the 13th movie, man? Mm-hmm. People been asking for this for years, man.
Have they?
They've been yeah, man. You'd be surprised. For years.
Okay.
A24.
Yeah.
Where's my Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
A24, they weren't able to get around to it. Something about rights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, everything is all mixed up.
Sure.
That Jason Voorhees don't come cheap.
No, not at all.
So they had a director says, you know what? I got you. I just won't say Friday the 13th or Jason. And I got you even better. You know, we'll just go ahead and just get it from the point of view of the slasher. Mm-hmm. And we say point of view of the slasher, we mean the back of his head the whole time.
Not really his point of view, more like his stalker's point of view.
Yeah, man. This is In a Violent Nature. This is the movie that's been getting a lot of attention, and everybody's been talking about, oh my God, how unique this movie is. I never thought how it would look. Never asked myself, we see all the, the people, the victims that are being killed and whatnot. And yeah, that's bad, but what about the slasher's point of view?
Right, yeah.
We don't really see it their way.
Might change your perspective.
It might change your perspective on everything. Again, if your perspective is just walking behind his ass the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that was White walking and looking at his hand for a little bit.
No, that's true. That is true. Look at me. I'm oversimplifying this way too much. But if you are a fan of of horror, but specifically the slasher genre, then there's been a lot of people saying this might be a fresh perspective that you need right now. Is that true? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer, in case you haven't seen it. This trailer for it, In a Violent Nature. In this case, a very, very violent nature. And we'll be back with our reviews. There's actually a couple of ways that you can look at this movie right here with this unique perspective that they have on it. So, because when I was watching this, I was like, because we walk around with this dude so much, it's almost like bring a friend to work day. Someone you just following someone around and they just kind of doing a walk along and you just, and they just kind of showing you what they do, except that the person that you're following and watching work is a slasher.
It's a slasher, yeah.
Now, another way of looking at this is you can also look at this as, it's a nice, I'll show you some parts right here. You can also look at this as a nice stroll through the woods with a buddy, where every now and then he stops and says, hold on for a moment. He just kills somebody.
Well, he's still on the clock.
Yeah, there you go. And then y'all go back to enjoying nature. Because he ain't talking. You're always 3 steps behind him. He's the slowest. Because there's so many times when I was watching this movie he's slow as hell, but I was just kind of like, damn, man, hey, hold up, wait a minute. Try to catch up with his ass. Hey, man. Now I see why slashers seem like they're teleporting.
Yeah.
They ain't really teleporting. They just keep walking. They just don't stop. You know, with this, they're talking about how, again, unique this movie is with the, perspective, they say, quote unquote, of the slasher that we have here. But the setup is something that we've seen before many times in some form or another, whether it be in another slasher movie or in a parody or something. So we learned through a spooky campfire story, hanging out with a bunch of annoying ass teenagers, that there was this mentally challenged dude named Johnny. And Johnny, he was tragically killed one day, and his body was buried in the woods. Years later, a group of teenagers that are out around the woods, as teenagers have a tendency to do in these kind of situations right here. One of them finds a necklace on a piece of wood, and as he looks at it and says, well, this looks valuable. So naturally takes it, and when they take it off this pipe that is hanging on right there, this piece of wood, they activate Johnny. Johnny activation ensues. His rotten corpse rises from the grave, and he says, somebody stole my bling out here. They out here snatching chains.
My grandmother gave me that chain.
Yeah. Somebody debolt my chain out here. I can't let that happen. I got to get my shit back. I mean, we get a hint that it might be something to do with his mother, gift from the family, his mother, like as I said, and it means a lot to him. So he's got to get this back. So instead of just asking politely, hey, man, I have this back, he's got to mutilate you.
He can't really talk.
So there you go.
So
what
how else can he express himself?
And what else is he supposed to do, Martin? Thank you. I'm glad you're so understanding about this. So now he comes back as some, swole ass slasher, as they usually come back as.
Indestructible.
Yeah, that must be a secret gem for these slashers somewhere, because all of them are swole.
Isn't it always like they die when they're kids and somehow they come back as grown-ass men with giant muscles?
Hell yeah. Somewhere between dying as a skinny or mentally challenged kid and coming back, they found this one Gold's Gym, this one Planet Fitness for killers out there. They go there. I even think Chucky got a little definition on him, a little body.
You coming to the gym, masks are optional.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something right off the bat, and I'm really eager to see what Martin thinks about this, because I'm going to tell you, before I even give my own opinion, that the thing that makes this unique, I think might be the thing that might turn some people off, even though you've been hearing a lot of great things about it, is very slow. And even more than that, it's still a very simple premise. A lot of these slasher movies, they know what they are. And it's like, hey, a guy comes back, or a guy escapes from an asylum, or a dog comes alive, and they just kill a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. No real, hey, listen, nothing complicated in the middle. And that's kind of what we have here. Except in those movies, you have a few things going on. You have a score. You might have a slightly bigger budget. You have pacing, faster pacing in those movies. You have editing. You don't really have those things in this movie right here. It's very quiet. There's no score. You can tell it's on a budget. It's that there are shots. I mean, look right here. There are shots of him walking for like a minute. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, this fool
was it only 1 minute? I thought it was longer than 1 minute.
This fool takes his time.
Yeah.
Will you kill someone? Hold on, man. Just enjoy nature, man. Shit ain't we ain't in no rush. God damn, man. This is what's wrong with you kids. I'll kill you when I get around to it, but just enjoy things right now.
You're a little short attention span.
Yes, son of a bitch. In fact, when I was watching this, I was behind Johnny so long, I thought I was controlling Johnny. I thought this was
you had your thumbs on the controls.
I thought this was a third-person open-world adventure and shit. I thought this was Resident Evil or something. I was like, I thought for a moment I was controlling Johnny with them tank-ass controls and shit. But this is intentional.
You cracked me.
This is intentional. This is what the director intended. But if you don't know this, the pacing might be off for you. Now, I'll tell you, I did like it. I found it very interesting because there's a very interesting style of filmmaking that goes along with this. It is a more low key, more artistic approach, almost in some parts even feels like documentary approach in a way to a slasher movie that hasn't been done before. But nevertheless, it's still a slasher movie. All right. And you know, and like I said, mostly a basic slasher movie. The only thing is that you were just most of the time just walking behind the slasher. That's the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but, you know, don't expect this to be some revolutionary slasher movie. And it's not even trying to even say that. But for this whole thing, that unique perspective is very bare bones. It's I guess it's very, what would you call it? Just kind of slow and steady. And you were just walking behind this dude most of the time. So, you know, if you know that and you're cool with that, then you might like the experimental approaches they're taking here. If you're looking for a more conventional slasher movie, something a little faster, and you know that you're not going to want anything less, then maybe this isn't completely for you, but it'll be on Shudder. I think it's worth a look.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It will be on Shudder. Yeah, it's funny. When I went into this and it started, I didn't realize what it was because I remember we watched the trailer before, and it was just so interesting, that whole thing from the killer's perspective and the way it's shot like an indie film, a low budget indie film, and you even see from the titles the way they do it, like the way the trailer's put together and the titles. You know, there's just so much going on here. And when we talked about it, we were all jazzed. And our friend Ferran, the filmmaker, was just like, why y'all getting fooled by that? It's just that's not even impressive filmmaking. And we were like, man, shut up. This looks cool. I wish Ferran was here right now so I could just look him in his face and go like, man, you were so right. Dude, okay, outside of like the pretensions of indie filmmaking, this whole, from the perspective of the killer, it doesn't even hold to that. I just thought this was so uninteresting and really shoddily, I don't want to say shoddily put together, but it's just one where you say like, hey, if you like all these things, it might not be for you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
but you know, if you're willing for, you know, if you're willing to take something less, then this could work. But I was like, why would you want less? Because it doesn't, for everything it takes away, it doesn't fill that back up with anything good. I mean, it's, you know, it's derivative, and I know it's on purpose, but it's derivative to the point of like, okay, so there's zero new here. The dialogue is on a Neil Breen level almost. All but maybe two of the actors are terrible. And that slow walk, I was like, that's actually kind of interesting for a while. But I also found that the slow walking that he does, where they set up every one of the kills, it was such a long setup that there was just no tension in it. It was like, all right. And probably the worst thing is that with these characters, they do the thing that at least I hate in the slasher movies, where people do something dumb or they just don't have a basic sense of self-preservation. Like, it's just like sometimes you come on one person and she just looks at him like, okay, well, what next?
Yeah. No, you know what? This is why I said, you know, if you don't know what you're getting into, or if you're looking for something that's faster, you know, more conventional, then you know this is not for you. Because I did like it more than you did. You tend to, because you have a softer spot for these things.
I mean, just in general. But I felt like once I realized what it was, I was like, man, even with what it's doing, it's still not that good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did. And like, you know, see, this is what you should listen to right here if you are going by what I say, that this is something that is more experimental and is not the slasher movie that you're used to. And the pacing is very slow. Pacing is very slow in this. I don't know, for me, I like the filmmaking style with this. I think I like that I've seen these things before. And even though I'm behind the slasher right here, there was just more of a brutality when this was brought down to this bare bones thing that it is right here. You know, I like the whole thing because I like movies like that where I don't get the score that's coming in telling me how to feel.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I like that this is something where it is and for me, that slower pace added a little bit to some of the tension of this, because they do use that. It's not like they're just being slow just to be slow. They're using that at certain times to build up tension, to make you, to try to fool you sometimes, thinking that, because this is a movie, it is the anti-jump scare movie. You know, they do certain things in here to make you think that there's about to be a jump scare. And they're using the slow pace of this to that effect. And there's not one to be found in here. But a lot of people should, I think, maybe not make a movie in the same style, but they should pay attention to how tension can be created with quiet, how tension can be created without having to play up to the anticipation of a jump scare. You know, I'm sick of all that kind of stuff in a horror movie. This is not doing any of those things, and it's kind of, for me, it's kind of doing it effectively. You know, they're not, the actors, yeah, I can't fight you on saying that they're bad. I'm not trying to make an excuse for it either when I say that I think that's intentional. Because I think what they're doing is things are being switched to where all the dialogue and all the stuff that you see in one of these slasher movies, it is bad dialogue. Some of the acting is very, it's bad in that style that we see in those 80s and 70s slashers movies. But it's all happening in the background. It's that whole thing of where it's almost like, not completely, but almost like there's another movie playing. It's that typical slasher movie. It's Friday the 13th playing in the background while we are listening, to it happening far away from. That's what they mean. This is what they mean by the killer's perspective. It's not, they don't mean like you just follow him around looking at the back of his damn rotten ass head. No, they're also saying that, from his perspective, you see those events playing out that we usually are seeing playing out when we're hanging around the teenagers.
I get that, but just even paying attention to what those teenagers, and really more like college students, are saying to each other, I was going, ooh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, what's written is terrible, and their delivery is terrible.
Yeah, I think that's kind of intentional to be of that genre.
Well, how is that enjoyable?
Well, if you watch those movies and you know them and you become a fan of that style, because because it's almost playing out. Again, you can call it nostalgia. You can call it, awareness for that genre. But, it's enjoyable if it is self-aware and you are aware of what they're doing.
Well,
I mean, I understand if you don't like it. I'm just speaking for myself, man. I'm not trying to tell you to like it.
No. It's not whether a convincing of like or dislike. It's just that I know with those movies, like a lot of times it was, hey, this is schlock, we're trying to get it out, and nobody's really paying attention. But now when you're conscious of it and you can do better, why not do better? Like, had that dialogue been better, mm-hmm. It wouldn't have taken away from it. It wouldn't even have taken away from what they were trying to achieve.
Yeah, I don't know. Because the dialogue was, the only different spin they had on it was probably a gender thing. But the whole dialogue was that dialogue of, hey, let's, we see it always in these genre movies, in the slasher genre, the bad dialogue that goes with, hey, let's have sex,
Mm-hmm.
Those things are meant to be cheesy in a way. It's almost like somebody said in the chat room, it's almost like being part of the joke. If they want, to me, like I said, they wanted to play out that slasher movie that people have grown up with, that is typical of that. They want to do those movies that we are aware of. They're not trying to make something new. They're trying to actually play that out like we've seen it played out. Now we just hear it from a distance, though.
Okay.
And like I said, if you never like that dialogue, if you never like that kind of stuff, then it's not going to make you like it here. Mm. And that's why I keep saying, if it's this might not be for everybody. I don't even think that. Again, I don't think that this movie is as great as some people are, claiming it to be, but I do, for me, get what they're trying to do here. And it just worked for me. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I thought the slowness of it really did build up the tension. I liked that they faked me out with the jump scares. I did like that I recognized the tropes of a slasher movie and seeing it play it out from a distance. Those are things that just appeal to me. I don't think it's going to appeal to everybody, though.
Well, that makes them sound like Easter eggs. Like they're playing just to the fans. Like, huh? Bad dialogue. Oh, remember we set this up earlier? You know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, then maybe they are, and if that's the case, then I'm a fan that it worked for. I don't.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I know often when a movie does that Easter egg, you have a big problem.
Well,
with that.
I don't think it's an Easter egg. I hate to keep repeating myself, but again, I think that they are actually playing out a movie that's in the background, that's further away, and this time we're just not there with those. We're just not in that movie anymore. We're on the flip side with this guy that's walking around, and we're seeing it from his perspective, where he's going around and killing those people in that movie that now we're not really in a part of anymore. We've been part of that movie. Now it's interesting to be on this side of the tracks, following him and seeing what it'd be like for him. Like I said, it even showed me like, hey man, I wasn't joking when I said I see how these fools are not teleporting. They just walk.
Yeah.
They just walk their ass off.
Yeah. No, he walks. It's funny because he's crunching the ground so loud. That's Foley artist was going ham, and I was like, damn, as hard as he's crunching the ground, how is he getting a drop on anybody?
Yeah, and this is something that it isn't just a stop and see. It is put to use as I said, it is integral to this story. Mm-hmm. It's not like, hey, remember this. No, it's not that. It's kind of like, hey, this has to play out because it's that movie. The experiment here is to like have it play out over there. We'll follow it from over here. So it has to play out the way it is, at least for this director to do what he was trying to do. At least for me, from that point of view.
Okay.
And like I said, and I get it because this is not me trying to tell you that you're wrong. In fact, I understand 100% what you're saying, which is again why I gave people a warning. I'm just saying that those things that probably didn't work for you for whatever reason, and maybe because I do like slasher movies more. Mm-hmm. I do like Chucky, and I do love Jason Voorhees. One of my favorite experiences in a movie is going to see Friday the 13th 3D. That was my first 3D movie.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I like the way, especially near the end of this movie, it plays out near the end of this movie, kind of plays out more like the movies that we know. But again, they didn't even go, they continue to like, all right, this is not that movie. Pump the brakes a little bit and let's keep this whole sense of wonder, that wonder of, since things are so still, because that's how the movie worked for me with this pacing. I normally do like things at a faster pace, unless the pacing is slowed intentionally. I do like the whole thing of things are moving so slow. What's going to happen next? Where's this guy going to come from? And even when we are following him, where's the victim going to pop out from? That's why I was looking at that and thinking like, it just made me kind of like really kind of have this anticipation towards the next kill because they're so spaced out and it's so quiet and it's so steady that you just left, you really are left to like, just wonder like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen next because I got no visual cues. Mm-hmm. I got no audio cues to put me in, to let me know or put me in a position where I'm aware of what's happening. I think that's where it worked for me, and again, you have to keep in mind, I've always said that I'm getting sick and tired of horror movies, especially the horror movies that are studio films where they're constantly blasting that score. And now people, we can see that. Get your ass from behind that corner. I know you about to jump out at me.
Sure.
I see you. This movie is going against that completely. Oh shit, you hear that? Oh Martin, did that come from outside?
Yeah, it's probably that killer out there, that old Johnny.
Making a killing at selling stuff on Shopify. Martin, like you saw, I'll kill you for that.
I just can remember which ad that was related to.
No, Martin, I do have to stop and give a word to our sponsor, which is Shopify. Just very quickly, I need to let you know about Shopify. People, I'm joking around with you. I'm telling you, even a slasher could probably sell all his weapons on Shopify, man, if he wanted to. Shopify is so good. And I'm telling you about Shopify. Let me just set this up real quick. I always tell you guys about our toasters. I always say the same things. These things are at reach. Toasties made these products right here. They made these fine pieces of merchandise. And they could be potential merchandise. I know James sells stuff like this all the time.
Yeah.
I have a girl named Marley came to one of our shows and made these figures of Martin and myself. They even... They can pose. Look at that, Martin. I'm breakdancing. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Hang 10.
Yeah, look at that.
Vogue.
Rhythm Nation. Look at that. My recommendation for any of those people who are that creative are. If you sell any kind of merchandise out there, if you're not already doing it, use Shopify. Why? Because Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. So if you're a budding entrepreneur, you definitely want to use Shopify. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across, get this, people, some of y'all don't even know we had this many countries, 175 countries. So Shopify is doing it for entrepreneurs around the world, dominating. They got 24/7 support, online support, and they're going to help you sell even more because Shopify has brought in the magic of AI with Shopify Magic. That's the AI-powered system that's going to help you sell even more effectively. So Shopify knows that you need to spend money to make money. That also includes saving money. And they're going to help you do that by putting in this code right here. Shopify.com/toasted. If you're a budding entrepreneur, you're somebody who's going to start selling stuff, try Shopify and using that code right there. If you put in that code, you're going to get a $1 per month trial period. Put it in there. Start growing that business today because Shopify's got your back. I want to thank Shopify for sponsoring this portion of the show. And I and Little Corey want to thank all of you out there for your support. Oh,
Thanks, Lil Corey.
that was just right there. Now, to continue with this, even if some people are not into the pacing, I would say, unless, like I said, unless you're like Martin and none of this is working for you, and that's understandable. But even if you don't think you're gonna try, you're gonna try to watch this, you're not gonna like it, I would say maybe here's the selling point for you. Maybe this will pay off this will be the payoff for your patience. Because if you are patient, some of you might be rewarded with the kills in here. You know, Johnny says, just relax, I'll make it worth your time. Because the kills are very gory in here, as if to reward you for your time. And some of them are way over the top. I'm gonna be honest with you, some of them are so over the top, I said, no, that's just childish right there.
Yes.
There was one in here that was, I will say this for the serious tone that this movie's trying to take most of the time, they went in here and with somebody, they pulled a straight up Mortal Kombat kill.
Yeah, that was something that was throwing me off with the kills because it did seem like they put a lot of their resources and energy and emphasis on the kills. And they are gory. And some of them are terrifying. Some are quick and surprising. Some are subdued. And some are just straight up cartoons.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, these different changes in tones you're throwing me off here. I don't know what to make of this. And I'm not coming out on the positive side on it.
Man, I don't know. I liked it, but I'm kind of childish too. You know, I like that. You'd have to do them like that. But it is a straight up Mortal Kombat kill. You know, when you already killed the person, but you continue to like bend their body and turn them into a car and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, it was. They did one of those like that. And like I said, look, this is on a budget. I was aware of that because they had one where they killed somebody and that head was just as fake. You know?
Well, they couldn't have used the real.
I'm just saying this. And also, listen, to be fair with people out there and to be fair with this movie, and no offense to the film out there, get all the good marketing that you can. But there are some people who they're trying to say that, man, the kills in here are so crazy that it's making people sick and making them walk out the theater like he's walking through the woods right there. And look, maybe it's just me. We've seen a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. And like Martin has said, and I've said, I've been raised on gore films, so maybe it's not a big deal to me, but I think the kills are not that big of a deal. I mean, they're effective at times. Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're crazy. Sometimes they're over the top. But as far as like so bad, making people walk out the theater, an episode of The Boys is crazier than this.
That's true.
All right? You know, I'm just saying, give the movie a try if my words are selling you, if you're listening to Martin and you know what to expect. But if you're going in there expecting something where it's like, again, this is revolutionary horror where we've never seen kills like this. An episode of Invincible, and that's a cartoon, has crazier kills than this. You know, it's nothing that wild. There's probably one in here where I was like, God damn, you can stop now. And they didn't.
It just goes on and on.
It does. It does. And I mean, it is not terrible. I had to laugh. I think somebody was looking at me in the theater like how dare you? Let me get out of here. I mean,
I guess, it's stuff like that would happen every so often that would make a lot of things kept pulling me out of the movie and would make me look at the kill and go, what is your motivation here?
Well, again, they did say.
No, I know his overall thing, but just some of them where he got excessive. I was just like, why here? Why this person? Why
He was
now?
feeling it. Got into it. Sometimes you just get caught up. I look at this more of kind of an experiment, and it's one that did work for me for the most part. I'm not caught up into it like a lot of people are because, like I said, it's still a slasher film. And it's not breaking any new rules or making any new rules or doing anything that's changing the game of the slasher film, except for its more art house tone. But I do think that tone did help the effectiveness of the tension of the film at times. And I don't know, man. It worked for me. And maybe you have to be more self-aware, or maybe you just have to really like the genre that much to appreciate it or enjoy it. If that's not you, then hey, you run the risk of being this man right here. And I don't mean the risk in a bad way. I'm just saying, this.
Yeah.
You obviously did not enjoy it as much as I do, and for obvious reasons, I get it. And so people might be more on your side on that.
Yeah. I guess it's a thing where you say you think I'm a fan of this. Oh yeah, well what about this and this and this? Oh okay. Well, I guess I'm not a fan. I just like it some. And that's maybe how I feel about the genre, because I grew up watching the Friday the 13th and that one in 3D. I went and saw that in the theater a couple times. I enjoyed that so much. So maybe I always think of that as the standard. But watching this, I guess from the trailer, I had the idea that this would be something not necessarily revolutionary, but different. And other than, you're right, it doesn't have the score. And we spent a lot of time following the killer, the shape, the slasher, whatever he is. But other than that, I thought, man, this is just, it's bringing less to the table. It's a humbug. It's hey, this is what we're showing you, but it's not really what's going on. And it's got an ending that feels almost tacked on. Like, I was like, wow, there's nothing organic about where we end here with everything that came to this point. I wish I could enjoy it. I mean, I feel like the good reviews are coming from from its premise, what it says it's about, rather than what it actually is. And the pace didn't bother me as much as you might think it did, but it did over time. Like I said, knowing it's because he walked so slowly and you'd see the target. So it was just obvious like what was going to happen next. So even that bit of suspense was always gone for me with every single kill that happens. For me, this was a lowest of low rentals.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end with you on that. This is if you've seen something like Terrifier, it's the opposite of that film right there. I guess you could say for me, when some of these movies start to feel exploitive with their violence, this didn't feel that way. Yeah, when they got to the kills, they killed. It is supposed to be a slasher movie, but it seemed like they were trying to actually add some sort of integrity to this, to this new perspective, instead of just going in there and concentrating on the kills. It's a good way to make a movie on a lesser budget too. I think there's one of those movies where when you have a lesser budget, I think that they use that very, very effectively. But yeah, but again, you've heard from both of us. This might not be your kind of thing. So I am going to give this. It's going to be a matinee for me. Probably leaning on a higher matinee, but right now I'll stick with a matinee. I liked it. I did. But there you go, people. You got two. Speaking of perspectives, you're gonna be walking behind Martin. You're gonna be walking behind me the whole time. You didn't think about it.
Well, I think I was also partially influenced by having so recently watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, which I hadn't seen in so long. Rewatching it was like watching it for the first time, and I was like, this was a very low budget, horror slasher film, but I found it really like it kept surprising me. And I thought it really worked. It had me on edge. Yeah. Whereas this, no.
Well, you got to keep in mind it's one of the pioneers of the genre.
Yeah.
This is sort of, I don't know what you want to say, a takeoff on it. an homage to it, something where they're just doing their own take on a slasher movie. So, it's not trying to do a whole lot new. It's just, like I said, it's just flipping things. Well, you made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like what we do. So if you do, check out these other videos just like this one. Check out our other YouTube channels and subscribe to join our wonderful Toasty community. And as always, stay toasty.